Hello guys, hello. Today I want to show you a little bit what Langflow is. So Langflow is a platform where you can basically create workflows that involve LLMs and agents and stuff like that. There's also another open source module, Python module to do that, which I mean there are multiple, but there's a really good one called LangChain, but it's pretty low level, so you have to code and stuff like that, and that's why I like Langflow because it's very visual. You can just drag and drop your stuff together and it's very easy. So yeah, this is the Langflow repository. You install it with pip install Langflow, and once installed, you run it with Langflow run. So I'm doing that. It will take a while. It will bring up a few warnings, but you don't need to really worry about that. It's just a few deprecation warnings, nothing major. You can just run this. And then in the end, it will give you a URL. So let's wait for that. Okay, so we can open this up, and this is how this will start up. You can just click New Flow to create a new workflow, and you have different presets that you can use. In our case, we just want to have a blank flow for now. And so what do we want to build? We want to build, let's say, a Xian DB agent. Now, this whole thing isn't strictly related to Xian, to the Xian network, but it can for sure be used in connection with it. For example, at Xian, we have every node can have or run a BDS. BDS is our blockchain data service, and it's in essence a Postgres database that has aggregated data, about the chain and all the transactions and blocks and whatnot. So everything involved, with the state and stuff, you can just query it so that you don't need to put any load on the node itself. So we have a database that you can query with all the state and everything. And in this example, let's just say we want to connect to that database. Maybe you are a node runner, validator, and you have BDS running, and you just want to query data from the database. Okay, so let's do that. So the heart for this whole thing, the heart of it all will be an agent, and this is a Postgres database. So let's search for SQL. And so we have two entries here. Cool thing about Langflow is that they don't have just only their own components. They also have all the LangChain, which I mentioned earlier, the LangChain components also. And you can use them here. So we could just drag and drop SQL database in here, and then we can connect to database. But we want to have or do more. The SQL agent is what we want because an agent is more than just a SQL database. A mode agent can really figure things out, run into an exception, for example, and just continue and figure out what the issue is and stuff like that. So that's the power of an agent. Now, so that's the heart of it all. What do we see here? So this is the SQL agent component. It pre-fills the database URI for me because I set it up already once previously, and it just remembers that value. I could also remove this, put something in there, some other URI or something. If you want to know how URI looks like for this is how it looks like. That's what you need to enter. And again, I already have one set up as a global parameter. So it just pre-fills this, but I can choose a different global parameter or just manually put it in. Now, global parameters in Langflow make sense for API keys, for example. You just enter it once and then you can always choose it if you want to. And you can maintain these global variables if you click on your profile settings, global variables, and then you have them here. You can manage them, create them, remove them, view them. And that's it. So that's how you can maintain this. And okay, so we have our agent. It has a database URI set up, and it should be able to connect to this database. Now we can press the run button here to verify if that works. And it tells us that SQL agent is missing a language model. So it's not complete. You know, you can't just run it like this. You need input, some kind of input. You need a language model and a database URI, which we have, and some response. So, okay, what do we need? In general, we need for the whole workflow all that stuff here. So not just the language model if you want to run the whole workflow. Okay, so input. Which input do we have available? Input. So we can have a chat input. Okay, let's choose that. And you see it has the same color. So that means it can be connected. We can also just click here and it highlights this, meaning it's definitely compatible. You can connect this. Okay, let's do it. We can connect this, and now we have a chat input that goes into our SQL agent. Next is the language model. We need some kind of language model. Okay, press this, and you will see what's available here, and you can choose from that. In my case, I like to choose or use DeepSeek. I have a DeepSeek API key. Makes sense for me. It's a very powerful model, so why not using it? Also in here, the same situation as with the SQL agent, it just pre-fills my API key here. Okay, so let's connect our language model to the SQL agent. And now we have pretty much everything we need except for the output. So it will give us a response. And in which form do we want to get that response? Chat output. Let's choose chat output because we have a chat input. So why not have a chat output? Makes sense. Okay, this is the whole thing. Now let's run this. Okay, this looks good. So this will work. This will definitely work. Um, now, hmm, what do we want to ask it? We want to ask something about the database, some data in the database. So let's check the database. Let's see what's in there so that we can, understand what we should be asking and if the result is correct. So this is a BDS database, Postgres database. Pretty minimal. There's just, I think, the Genesis block in there, nothing else, just local. And let's, for example, check the state table. Let's do a select and see what's in there. So this is the state table. The state has a key. So every state has a key and a value and some other stuff. Um, yeah, maybe let's ask it about a state with the value team log. Let's maybe just do that, and then ask it if it exists, and if it exists, then what the key of that state is. Okay, so let's do this. Um, we can stop this. That's fine. And once you hit the playground button, you get a chat basically that you can have with your SQL agent. Okay, so is there a state with the key team log? And if yes, what's the, no, actually, a value. Is there a state with the value team log? And if yes, what's the key of that state? Okay, so let's have a chat. Um, what you can see here is that this thing starts to think about this and it will do different things. So you can expand this and see what it's actually doing. And we'll figure out all the database tables and how to query them and what's in there and so on. So it will do all that. Might even be that it runs into some error, that could be. But in the end, it will figure it out. So we can just close this. And yeah, here it is. Yes, there is a state with the value team log. The key is this. So yeah, that's correct. Okay, so that's what it is. It worked. Now remember, interesting part is this agent didn't know anything about the database. I didn't tell it anything. I mean, we could give it memory, for example, or more additional data about the database, but it's not even needed. All this thing has is connection to a language model and to the database. And you can ask it questions and it will give you a response. So that's what it is. Pretty powerful, I think. And so you can also publish this now and hit API access, and you will see how you can interface with this workflow in Python or JavaScript, for example. So you can deploy this and interface this, interface with this, maybe add that as an API to your own application, and basically now gain the possibility to query that database and maybe ask it questions about transactions and so on. So that's what it is. Pretty powerful. I think it's really good, really interesting. And maybe you want to build something with this. Who knows? One last additional thing. It's important to understand that if you want to use this SQL agent that connects to a database, you have to have an SQL driver installed. Now, for me, it's the Postgres database that I'm connecting to. So usually it's this driver here, or for the async version, if you want to connect async to it, then this one. So that needs to be installed also. Pip install and one of these modules, and you'll be able to use this. Yeah, that's it.